Afternoon. Once again, I'm very happy to be with all of you for this afternoon to share with you some precious Buddha Dharma. Not just any Dharma, but Buddha Dharma. So, if I'm correct, today the topic is about cause and effect, isn't it? So, which I think stemmed from the lung of, or the oral transmission of the four foundations, or the preliminary practice, or Hondro as it is known in Tibetan. So, cause and effect, in short, I think it's the thing that we always talk about, or that we always hear. That we know, that we have heard over, I think, quite a while, probably over now close to 40 years maybe, around the world. Before, I think it was more in the conversations within the Asian continents and within its vicinity, the topic of karma. But now, every now and then, it's there in everyone's conversation, as a joke, as a conversation piece, mostly as sort of a conversation piece. Yeah, but it's good. It's good in every way. That's although we are talking about karma every now and again, whenever we have a conversation among family or friends or acquaintances or strangers. We are always talking about that, but somehow we haven't a name for it. And now, due to the full flourishment of Buddhism around the world, now we have a name for it, which is karma then. But of course, the way we interpret that, understand it, it's probably frowned upon by my great masters maybe, in terms of how we look at it or how we interpret it. So probably that's why we are all here, to understand its mechanism and everything. So yes, in English I think the best term that we have is cause and effect. Or in between we can add one more, conditions. So we have, we are able to summarize the topic of karma in 3 points: cause, conditions, and effect. Yeah. And it's a very helpful subject. Those are very helpful points for us, whether we are practitioners or not. So yeah, so that's the topic. So now the point is, or point for me is to see how I should present it today for all of you, so that we can have it as again, as usual, as a conversation piece. In short, to give away the punchline, let's say, is that without some idea of the famous word emptiness, there is no way of talking about karma or cause and effect. Without it, then it becomes very, very mundane and very short-lived in terms of its philosophy and everything. So, yeah, in the end, its basis, or the very idea of karma, comes from understanding, or very simply, it is based on emptiness, or selflessness. Now, for us as beginners, particularly learning the ways of the Hondo, or the preliminary practice, it is very important because then it is a motivator or a drive for us to push ourselves towards a virtuous path. Otherwise, the very things we do in life seems meaningless after a while, no matter how exciting it is in the beginning, be it profession or let's say passion or anything, becomes pointless. And so with the understanding of these four thoughts, now today, particularly with the cause and effect, it truly helps us to really motivate ourselves, that we must watch out in what we do, in what we say, in what we think. I think in terms of what we do, and what we say, I think we all have sort of like awareness that of its effects, positive as well as negative. So therefore we are as long as we are conscious, I think we are how to say, pretty well equipped in terms of what is what. But the main thing is the seed, where it grows from, meaning mentally, in terms of what we think. And there, of course, like since we cannot read each other's thoughts, of course, it's there is sort of there's a sort of a space or a circumstance that makes us feel that probably it's safe, and maybe it's innocent to some extent to venture into various kinds of thoughts. So probably that's a point that we have to maybe focus on and be aware of. So meaning not really to go very deep into it in terms of being very technical and anything, things like that, to make ourselves very how to say, restricted and troubling for ourselves. But in terms of attitude, as long as we have a positive and a courageous attitude, naturally we don't have to worry ourselves of what we think. And as simple as that, I think. So, in terms of attitude, the best that I could think of is that of the Bodhisattva's attitude. If we can gain, or if we can develop, as I've said in these last few days, if we can imitate or mimic the ways of the Bodhisattvas in terms of how they approach towards things, particularly in their thoughts, then naturally we have a wonderful start, and from there onwards till the end is a very good middle, a good continuation. So that's why if we can develop a courageous attitude, although knowing that our existence is fragile, although knowing the dangers of the mundane activities, still to have a very, one could say, optimistic, to have a great deal of optimism about life. Not to the extent that we become careless, but in terms of knowing that every method, every means that we apply are there not to make it difficult for ourselves, but they are there to actually make things easier for us, so that we have abundance of, let's say, means to overcome various difficulties. So, yeah, so I think that's a better way of presenting that's one way of presenting the cause and effect. Now, in terms of the cause and effect itself, we all, the moment we think about it, it becomes very linear, meaning that, well, in a way it's good, but in terms of, how to say, like, that's, like for example, there is every truth that when something happens, we tell ourselves that, oh, that is karma. It is, maybe it helps us to react to that experience better, maybe. But after some time, although we keep saying that, both to ourselves and to others, sometimes we'll be just sort of repeating that and not really knowing what it means, So, and that's why we have to, from time to time, particularly now with the practice of the four foundations, we have to remind ourselves that it's just another means, it's just another word that we tell ourselves over and over again to indicate towards something that we are not so comfortable with, That's why the punchline comes back, that the idea of emptiness.